Welcome to another faith note for today. As the prophet Samuel was selecting the next king of Israel, God reminded Samuel a truth that remains relevant for us today. The Lord said to Samuel in chapter 16, verse 7, Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height. The Lord does not see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearances, but the Lord looks at the heart. Have you ever noticed how some people simply appear on the scene with little or no forewarning? It's almost as if they dropped out of the sky. Many of the respected biblical leaders are revered for their faithfulness, but little is said about them before God called them to that particular place in history that brought them to our attention. In virtually every case, the 1 Samuel passage is relevant. God chooses and uses people of faith based upon what God sees in their heart rather than their resume. Abraham, Moses, David, Peter, Paul, Mary, and others are revered not because of their heritage, but because of all that they were able to accomplish under the guidance and under the influence of God. They were not chosen because they appeared to be the best qualified. They were chosen because their heart was open, receptive, and responsive to God's influence. They said yes to God's invitation. Sometimes the most likely candidate is not the best choice. It's not so much about being qualified to serve. It is instead about saying yes and having a pure heart, and then stepping out in faith. A long time ago, I heard this phrase that stayed with me. God doesn't call the equip. God equips those whom God calls. If you feel led by God to do something, to find yourself hesitating and making excuses, know that the preparation and training, the experience and the talents can be helpful that you might be carrying into the situation, but they're seldom prerequisites required to be chosen by God, and certainly have nothing to do with our willingness to say yes to God's invitation. What sets one person apart from another is a willingness to try, to step out in faith, to work outside your comfort zone. Lots of people are qualified to serve, but few are willing to say yes. If God is calling you to do something that you've never done before, know that God equips those whom God calls. Take a leap of faith. You just might surprise yourself, and in doing so, you may discover that your relationship with God has moved to a new level. Thank you for watching another Faith Note for today. Hear these words from the prophet Jeremiah. I, the Lord, search all hearts and examine secret motives. I give all people their due rewards according to what their actions deserve. And from Psalm 139, O Lord, you have examined my heart. You know everything about me. You know when I sit down, when I stand up. You know my thoughts, even when I'm far away. Amen.